as she said, you know, WSI is really the one thing that really, for me, made me run. And I don't know that it's up yet, but we're going to have Jeremy Olson's story, his speech at the convention is going to be up on our website soon. And I challenge any of you to watch it and not cry. It's a real moving story. And Jeremy's going to be up here in Rolla on, is it the 26th?
26th, yep.
26th at the Legion Cabin, which is just straight north of Dakota Bank. And we're going to have a meeting that night, and he's going to tell his story here. And it's just so sad to me, you know, my theme of my campaign is in North Dakota for all North Dakotans. And it's so sad to me that we have a state, that we have these heroes, you know, the best people in North Dakota in many ways, and then when they get injured, the state treats them like a criminal or like an enemy and tries to just kick them to the side of the road. But while that's such an egregious example, that's really the way the state of North Dakota has been run for so many groups. You know, rural North Dakota does not get the attention that it should. The reservations get the attention least of all. You know, here right in Rolette County, we have really what's effectively the last available labor force of any size in North Dakota. And yet we don't have natural gas here, we don't have necessary infrastructure here, and I have to say I don't feel that the state is really encouraging manufacturing and such to locate here. Now here's this wonderful community college, able and more than willing to train people. And you know, a lot of it's public image and stuff that people hear reservation and they just have, oh, how could I bring my family there? How could I bring my business in? Somehow we've got to overcome that. You know, for some reason the other side's really good at creating division and hatred among the people who should really be working with each other. You know, you take all this transgender issue going on. And when I use the term issue loosely, because in my 58 years in North Dakota, I've never heard of a problem with transgenders in the bathroom, except I have heard of transgenders being attacked. So they take the vulnerable people and the weak people, and they demonize them. And then they try to split the rest of the people and keep them in power. You know, they just do this really well. You'll hear unions. You'll hear, oh, the problem, you're not making enough. The problem is this union over here is making too much money. So the solution is let's break the union. And as we lose unions, everyone else gets paid less as well. And North Dakota is a right-to-work state. We have a low rate of unionism, and as such, we are a low-wage state. We have more people than any other state that work 2 jobs. We have more people than any other state that are underemployed. So we brag about this low unemployment rate, but we have people working 2, sometimes 3 jobs, and they can't make a living. So then it's held out to be like it's their failing. Look, we're just breeding dependence on the government. But what breeds dependence on the government is the fact that you can work and work and work and you can't make a living. So we just really have to change things in North Dakota. It was so interesting this week as I talked to a bunch of doctors, and they were most of them were from India. They went, and their education, when they got done, they owed not a penny. Because education in India, if you make the grade, is free. And it's not just the education. They had stipends to live on and everything. I mean, anyone who wanted to, who could make the grade, could continue on. And you didn't have to be an A student. You just need to be an adequate student. So they had this whole thing. And then we sit here and we talk in North Dakota, and it's this argument about, oh, can we afford higher education? And then we've got the president of NDSU flying to India and to Malaysia to offer a free education here for those students, because we don't have enough math students here, and we don't have enough engineering students here. But there's no effort really within the state to produce those students and here, you know. And our son just graduated from Concordia really 2 springs ago. And so a lot of his classmates were graduating, many of them with those same types of degrees, and yet not a single one of them that I know ever got contacted by the colleges to, why don't you come here for graduate school? Why don't you get an advanced math degree here? Why don't you come and do another engineering degree or anything? So we're really running this state for the few. You know, we're going to go back in because we got this big deficit in the state. And I just remember how before the oil tax was passed during those few days, we had the MHA Nation, the tribal council, the chairman were all there. And they're saying, we have this agreement. Let's talk about our agreement. Let's negotiate our agreement. And they were told, oh, there's an agreement here, all right, but it's not the one that we have with you. We've already reached an agreement with somebody else who isn't even here. So we're changing the tax and it doesn't really matter what you think. Somehow, if the state of North Dakota is going to become as great as it can, we've got to start including all people. And we've got to start listening to all people. You know, I've seen repeatedly the governor of North Dakota where groups of people come to the Capitol and he hides behind a locked door and he won't talk to them. And we need to have that talk. And this is so important. You know, people are excluded from the government. People are not treated the same. And we have to get past that. And we have to start dealing with each other as individual human beings. And look at the way that national politics is working now to rile up hatred and violence. You know, I was at the vigil for the Florida shooting in Minot. And one of the worst things of this whole campaign was that. Because while we sat there and we listened to brave people talk, every time a car drove into the park, everybody followed that car for a long ways. It was in those people's minds that someone in North Dakota might be coming for them with a gun with the intent to kill them because of who they were. We have to get past this. And so that's really the important theme. You know, we talk budget, we talk money, we talk all these things. But the thing is, we have to have the mental health services. This is what's really lacking in our state. We have to start dealing with each other as human beings. And that's where I want to go. And any support that you could give us in that, I would greatly appreciate. Thank you.